Hi, I'm Davy. I'm awesome. Welcome to Davy's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling-related things, all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. So this past week was NXT Halloween Havoc, live from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Fitting, they're going to do a Halloween show in the candy capital of the world. Let's get into it. The opening match for the NXT North American Championship, a tables, ladders, and scares match. I hate saying that. Obafemi challenging Tony D'Angelo. Obviously the rematch from No Mercy when Tony D'Angelo won the North American Championship. And this match had the potential to be great. But for some reason they decided to change it from being an actual TLC match, where it's basically a ladder match they provide tables and chairs for, to turning it into where the stipulation is there's tables, ladders, and chairs, but it's decided through pinfall or submission. So basically just a hardcore match where they're providing these specific weapons. Kind of took a little steam out of it. And, it was pretty good. There wasn't anything particularly wrong with it, just again, them making that the stipulation instead of it being a TLC match like we wanted. Just kind of, took a little air out of it. But it was pretty good. Of course, the D'Angelo family came out, and at first they weren't much help, until Rizzo hit Obafemi with a crowbar. Then Cristofino and Stax hit him with a shatter machine with a chair, allowing Tony D'Angelo to get a spine buster through a table, get the pin and the win, and retain the North American Championship. Which I'm happy about that. I think that was the way to go. Honestly, in my opinion, right now in NXT, the top heel is Obafemi, and he's like a dominating, massive heel. I think it's time for him to go after the big title. But as far as this match goes, it was good, but again, changing the stipulation was a little bit of a letdown, so I would give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Second match, Cora Jade and NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez versus Stephanie Vaquer and Julia. It was a great match. Both of these teams, great teamwork. Like, both of these two women's teams could end up being women's tag team champions. But then again, I don't know if I want that, because as we know, that is the consolation prize they give to the women wrestlers they have no plans for. And this great tag team match went back and forth until Stephanie Vaquer was able to get the win over Roxanne Perez, the champion, which means there's probably a title shot coming in the future. And it was really awesome. And then at the end of the match, we got a surprise appearance by Zarya. They're pushing her. She came out, made her presence known. Cool. Got a good look, got an image. I can't say I know much about her. I know she used to wrestle in Australia under the name Delta, but I don't really know much about her. So we'll see how that goes. As far as this match goes, though, 4 out of 5. Yeah! And then a match to hopefully settle a feud. An ambulance match between Ridge Holland and Andre Chase. As we know, Ridge Holland been taking out Chase U. It was really brutal. It's an ambulance match. Of course it was. Andre Chase did get a measure of revenge by getting a DDT onto the table. Kind of like how Ridge Holland got the Rampage onto Andre Chase onto the table, putting him out. But ultimately, it went till Ridge Holland got the Rampage on the stage, putting out Andre Chase and throwing him in the ambulance and winning the ambulance match. As far as what to give this match, this is me personally. I just didn't really care about this. I'm not a Ridge Holland fan. Haven't been since his time in NXT UK. Just never been impressed with him. Andre Chase, not only am I not impressed with him, I am kind of hoping that this is the end of the Chase U story thing. I honestly feel that Chase U is stupid, and it's holding really good wrestlers back. Like Duke Hudson, I believe him joining Chase U in the beginning would have been good if it would have been what we were all thinking, which was he was going to infiltrate and be a heel, but then he took it seriously and it's dumb. And Thea Hale, I see a lot of potential in her, and I think Chase U is holding her back. I was happy when she had left, and now she's back, and it's stupid. I think it needs to stop. So if that's the potential, great, but ultimately, even with the brutality in this match, it was just a hardcore match, and I would only give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the Women's North American Championship. It had been decided that one of the members of Fatal Influence was going to take on Kalani Jordan. They spun the wheel, make the deal, and it was Spinner's choice. Their choice, Fallon Henley, was going to be the official one to challenge, and their choice was going to be a gauntlet match. meaning it would start with Jasmine Nix versus Kalani Jordan, and if she could get past Jasmine Nix, then it would be Kalani Jordan versus JC Jane, and ultimately Kalani Jordan versus Fallon Henley. It went pretty much how we expected. Kalani Jordan versus Jasmine Nix, she gets the 450 splash, the pin, and the win. So out comes JC Jane. They fight a little bit, she gets a roll-up, gets the pin over JC Jane. This is where we were like, are they going to give it to Kalani Jordan, make her seem like she was the dominating champion again, or were they going to give it to Fallon Henley? Well, after distraction by Jasmine Nix and JC Jane, Fallon Henley was able to get the Shining Wizard onto Kalani Jordan, get the pin, the win, and Fallon Henley is the new NXT Women's North American Champion. That's the result I'm happy about. I like Kalani Jordan as a wrestler, but as a personality, she's bland. They need to give her some kind of an edge, because she's just extremely vanilla. Not to mention, Fallon Henley, I feel it's long overdue that she got some kind of a championship. It was a way that doesn't take away from Kalani Jordan. It was a gauntlet match, and it builds up Fatal Influence as the dastardly heels. And then, after the match, we got yet another appearance from Zarya. This time she came in and laid out Fatal Influence. So, again, cool, we'll see what goes on with that. But overall, this match, 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then the main event for the NXT Championship. Ethan Page getting his rematch against Trick Williams in the Devil's Playground match. Which is just a hardcore match. It's funny to me how many different names they have for the same frickin' match. But it was a great match. It was brutal, but it didn't go the way I was hoping. I was honestly hoping they would give it back to Ethan Page, because he's such a good heel. And in my opinion, Trick Williams is one of those that's better in the chase. Because even though he didn't have a lengthy title reign, it wasn't really that interesting. It was more interesting watching him get to it, but whatever. Trick Williams got the trick kick and the pin, and retained his NXT Championship. What was more interesting was what happened after. Ridge Holland came out, started beating down Trick Williams. But earlier in the show, twice actually, in the pre-show and the regular show, he came out and interrupted Bubba Ray Dudley, who was there with Dave LaGreca from Busted Open Radio, just doing some press for the show, and pissed off Bubba Ray. So he came out and took out Ridge Holland and Ethan Page, helping Trick Williams. What's interesting about that is it makes me wonder what's going on here. Is this going to be a one-off between him and Ridge Holland? Or are they going to give Bubba Ray Dudley a chance to be the single star in WWE like he never got and we kind of all wanted? Considering what a top heel he was in TNA, in my opinion, it would have been fitting to see what he could do singles. I guess we'll see. This was a really good match, but I wouldn't say it under 5. I'd say a good solid 4 out of 5. Yeah! So NXT Halloween Havoc overall was good. It was worth watching. I have Peacock. Had a couple of 3s and a few 4s. Only 5 matches. But I will say this. There was nothing that was stellar. Even though 3 out of the 5 matches were really good, none of them were fantastic. None of them were great. And the story building, some of it is pretty good. Some of it not so much. The opening match, the Tables, Ladders, and Scares match, it just really was disappointing that they did that. We already had 2 hardcore matches going on that night. You could have just let us enjoy a TLC match, something different. The match of the night, in my opinion, was the tag team match of Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez versus Stephanie Vaquer and Julia. I like that they're building up Stephanie Vaquer and Julia. Didn't know much about Stephanie Vaquer until her one-off in AAW, and she's impressive. Like I said about the Ridge Holland Andre Chase thing, I just wasn't that into it because I'm just not into either of the competitors. Only thing I'm happy about is maybe this is him ending Chase U, because again, it's just something that's been going on, in my opinion, way too long. Looking at it objectively, even for people who I think probably enjoy Chase U, it's lost its steam. It's gone on a little longer than it should have. Enough. I like the stuff building up with the Women's North American Championship. I like Zarya coming in at the end of the match and laying out Fatal Influence. We'll see how that goes. But I like that this is building Fatal Influence because honestly I think it's a great team that could do a lot. I like Fallon Henley and JC Jane as wrestlers, and I think that they do deserve to get a little bit more elevated. The NXT Championship match, like I said, I was a little disappointed because I like Trick Williams. Don't get me wrong, I just really found him more interesting pursuing the title than having the title. Ethan Page, on the other hand, a little different. He didn't have the title for long, but I feel like he's that kind of champion that can have that stranglehold on the title. That the interesting part about it is you're just waiting for somebody to take it away from him. And they didn't really give us that. But I like the concept of Bubba Ray coming in and maybe having a singles run in NXT. He was not only the top heel in TNA, but he made it worth watching at a time when there wasn't much making TNA worth watching. Sorry. But we'll see what happens there. So I like the potential going on. But as far as the show overall, it's one of those things that's on Peacock. I have Peacock, so I didn't mind watching it. But if it was like regular pay-per-view, I probably wouldn't have been as satisfied paying extra for it. So honestly, overall, NXT Halloween Havoc, I'd give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah! So there you have it. That's my wrestling review this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications for when I post the videos, and leave a comment I can respond to in my next comment corner. Tell me what you thought of NXT Halloween Havoc. Love you guys.